The forest is still when the drone first appears in our tale. But rewind back to a morning that smelled like pine and cold metal, September 3rd, 2008, Pine Creek Trailhead. Bitterroot Range, a green Toyota 4Runner idles, ticking softly under a thin skin of road dust. Aaron Keller checks the rear latch twice. He always does. Habit keeps people alive. He is 44, part-time ranger, full-time mountain mind. He knows where the wind piles snow and where it carves escape. Noah, 15, shoulders a red pack that sits square on his frame. He has a new wide-angle lens and a head full of constellations. Grace stands on the porch at dawn, a hand on the rail. Sunday, 6, Aaron says, a half smile. Not a promise he breaks. She holds him longer than usual. Then she grips Noah's elbow like a secret. The road climbs in switchbacks through timber and talus. They stop at Red Creek Station at 10:21. Buy water and oatmeal bars. Noah studies the topo, like a puzzle that wants to be solved. He draws a small triangle at Mirror Lake, then a dot for camp. The sky is the hard blue of early fall, air thin enough to ring in the chest. At 12:08, fresh ink on the trail register. Oh, Keller plus sun. 3 days. Mirror Lake. The pen leaves a clean groove where the nib presses too hard. Pine Creek Trail runs 9 miles to the water. Elevation sneaks up a rib at a time. Footing is good until it isn't. Roots, slick stairs of granite, a sheen left by night mist. Aaron sets the pace, steady and low impact. He glances back often, not to check, but to confirm. Noah photographs moss spirals and the tilt of a shattered log. He stops for the way. Light threads needles into lace. They camp short of the lake the first night, 200 meters from a cold stream. Tent tout, guy lines like harp strings humming to the wind. Dinner is oatmeal and mint tea from crushed leaves. Noah swears the steam smells like the color green. They lie on their backs, headlamps off, nose to the sky. Orion is wrong this early, but they like pretending. Morning comes thin and silver. Clouds drift in, careless and undecided. Day 2 turns damp by noon. The trail grows greasy where hooves have churned. On Hummingbird Slope, the third rock step is slicker than it looks. Noah plants, slides, snaps air with his heel. He bites a sound back and sits down fast. Aaron is already there. Hands calm, tape already unrolled. Aversion. Aaron says, not alarmed. Wrap, rest, reassess after lunch. They shelter under a lip of rock, half cave, half shadow. Rain pecks and then loses interest. Noah tests weight, finds pain but not panic. They make camp early inside that shallow pocket of stone. Aaron builds a small fire and feeds it slow. Smoke writes gray questions into the damp. The second night is noisy with wind. Branches hiss, then hush, then hiss again. A glow flickers once on a far slope and disappears. Could be a camper. Could be a trick of wet light. Morning 3 is clean and bright as glass. They push another mile. Then prudence wins. Noah's ankle sends a telegram of heat with each grade. They pivot back toward the protective fold of the rock pocket. Aaron stacks stones into an SOS on a bare patch below the trees. He leaves a bright bandana tied high where a pilot's eye could catch it. At 3:07 p.m., a rescue helicopter noses along the valley. It does not dip. It does not circle. It goes on like a beetle over water. They wave a jacket until their arms burn. The rotors fade into the ribs of the range. The sun slides off the ridge fast. Shadows pour rather than fall. Noah's temp is normal, breath normal, ankle stable under tape. They ration without fear. Tomorrow we try the lake, Aaron says, measured, or we sit tight and make bigger smoke. They sleep in shifts. The fire is more ember than flame. Sometime after 1, wind shifts and the pocket breathes colder. Aaron wakes to feed the embers, listening. At 2, there's a sound not made by weather or water. It comes thin and straight through the trees. The sound says a name, not loud, not urgent, precise. Aaron freezes mid-reach, hand warm over the coals. Noah turns in his bag and murmurs, half awake. The sound comes again. from deeper in the cut of stone. Now it says 2 names, syllables placed perfectly. Probably a camp down valley. Aaron tells his own pulse, voice low, measured, a man calming a room. He builds the fire up a fraction. He counts breaths, counts sparks, counts seconds between calls. The voice stops. The forest resets to creak, wind, and twig. Dawn brings that wide, hollow quiet after hope. They boil water and split a bar. The ankle looks better, but not enough. Aaron points to the sky. Then the rock pocket, smoke first. He rolls damp moss into the fire for fat smoke. It climbs, slow and oily, above the trees. At 11:14. Another chopper threads the valley, smaller, white fuselage. Again, no arc, no hover, no drift toward their column. Aaron calculates angles and drift. He moves the fire into a clearer line between pines. He lays down a jacket, bright side up. He whistles twice. Silence answers. They decide to stay put until evening. Night travel on that slope is a bad bargain. Noah reads the topo and traces a contour with a dirty thumb. Here's where we went off the grade yesterday. Aaron nods. Tomorrow, we think again. Afternoon dulls and then sharpens. They count fuel and discs of sausage. Noah naps with his hat over his face. Aaron sits at the pocket's mouth, the world framed like a photograph. The third night arrives on silent feet. Flame life becomes ember logic again. The wind leans differently now, as if choosing sides. Aaron knows the feeling when a front thinks about forming. At 2:03, the sound returns, closer, though the air carries it strangely. This time it pronounces both names with a soft patience. It is neither shout nor whisper. It is accuracy. Hold, Aaron whispers, palm open in the dark. Noah breathes once, then very still. The sound is followed by another sound, not a word at all, a kind of echo that lands where you do not expect. Aaron feels the hairs rise on his forearms. It is not fear yet. It is sorting. He picks up his headlamp, but does not click. He prefers dark to false clarity. The voice repeats, now from the same compass line. No wind shift explains it. No canyon trick he knows fits clean. Noah's hand finds his sleeve. Dad, a question, nothing more. Aaron squeezes once. Not ours. He breathes. The voice fades like a tide pulling through stone. Then even that suggestion is gone. They wait 5 minutes, then 10. Time is heavy and simple. Aaron moves the embers with a stick until orange threads rejoin. He tells himself roads. He tells himself radiance. He tells himself reason. Morning comes with a blue as flat as a blade. They pack for a slow push to higher ground. Aaron writes a note on a page torn from a spiral. Stayed near pocket off Pine Creek. Smoke visible at midday. A +N. He sets the note under a balanced stone by the SOS. He checks the sky. He checks the boy. They shoulder packs and step into the narrow light between pines. The trail is not a trail anymore. It is decision after decision. They move 15 minutes and then 10 more. Noah does not complain. He mentions birds, past a shoulder of rock. The valley reconciles into sound. Water says east. Wind says north. The pocket says back. At the top of the shallow rise, Aaron stops and listens hard. The forest holds its breath. Then it exhales and the precision comes again, very soft, very clear. 2 names, placed exactly where the trees are most thick. The Toyota 4Runner sits in Pine Creek's gravel lot. Its windshield gleams with frost. Inside, a school physics packet rests untouched on the back seat. Grace Keller drives up just after dawn. She sees the car still there. Her breath fogs the glass as she presses both palms to the window. Deputies arrive within the hour. They circle the vehicle, noting the cracked window, the keys on the dash. Nothing inside looks wrong, but nothing feels right. Captain Jonah Ruiz takes command. He has led search ops before, but this silence is heavier. He marks the time, 6:42. Dogs are deployed, noses to the trail. The first 5 miles are steady, easy to read. Paws and handlers move quick, confidence high, past mile 5. The rhythm dies. The dogs circle, whine, lose thread. The handlers glance at each other. This should not happen. Helicopters slice patterns above the canopy. From below, the forest looks like an ocean of pine. From above, the ocean swallows everything. Searchers grid the valley. They push through brush, cross streams, tie ribbons at intervals. Every clearing is measured, every boulder tested. Aaron's name is called again and again. Noah echoes through the trees. Only water answers, faint and distant. 72 hours, 160 volunteers, 64 square kilometers combed, then combed again. Nothing. Not a footprint in damp soil. Not a shred of cloth. Not a bent branch. Day 5. The tone changes. Rescue becomes recovery. Eyes lower, but feet still move. Night brings sub-zero winds. Search crews stamp their boots by campfires, staring into dark ridges. They know survival time is shrinking. Grace waits at the command tent. Her fingers trace the edge of a thermos lid. She listens to each briefing like scripture. Reporters descend. Questions hammer bears. Landslide. Runaway. Ruiz holds the line. No sign of foul play. Still open, whispers spread through town. One says a cougar dragged them off. Another insists they slipped into an ice cave. By winter, hope calcifies. The snow packs down trails, hiding all trace. The mountains close their mouth. Grace refuses to stop. Every 2 weeks, she drives back to Pine Creek. She hikes in, voice raw, calling names that fade into timber. Her neighbors bring casseroles. She does not eat much. She stares at maps with a pencil in hand. Year 2, she sees a counselor specializing in ambiguous loss. He says the mind hates not knowing. She nods, silent. Still, the questions gnaw. Did Noah die quickly, or did he linger, cold and waiting? Spring searches resume. Snowmelt opens avalanche chutes and rock slides. Teams probe with radar and poles, probing for buried remains. They find nothing, no bones, no gear, no trace of life. It is as if the forest itself swallowed the Kellers whole. Ruiz logs every tip that comes in. A man swears he saw 2 hikers near Clearwater. A woman claims lights flickered by Bitterroot Gorge. Each lead evaporates under scrutiny. Mistaken faces. Campfires from strangers. The ledger of false hopes grows heavy. Year 3, a true crime show covers the case. Cameras pan over the empty trailhead. Millions watch, searching for answers that never come. The episode sparks hundreds of calls. Bears, mountain lions, hidden caves, all guesses, no evidence. Grace sets up a memorial website. She posts photos of Aaron tying Noah's bootlaces. She writes, "If you know anything, please share." The site draws thousands of clicks. Comments pour in. Praying for you. I hiked there once, but no solid clue appears. She joins a safety foundation. She hands out whistles, thermal blankets, trail markers. She teaches strangers how not to vanish. At night, she dreams of helicopters missing smoke. She wakes with the taste of ash in her throat. She stares at the ceiling until sunrise. Year 7, the court declares Aaron and Noah legally dead. Grace fights, but the law moves like a tide. The insurance payout arrives. She spends it funding new searches. She sends checks to families with missing sons and daughters. She keeps her wedding ring on. Her hand feels lighter, but her heart does not. The house is quieter than any forest. Volunteers continue small hunts each spring. They sweep side valleys, poke into caves. Every effort ends the same. Silence. Some locals whisper about ghosts. Others mutter about hermits or hidden sects. Theories multiply, none with proof. Grace keeps a file box under her bed. Inside, maps, search grids, copies of every flyer, a note taped to the lid. Not done. Year 10, the world moves on, but she does not. Her days revolve around the absence. She works part-time at the safety fund. She smiles politely when people mention closure. Inside, she burns with unfinished questions. On the 11th anniversary, Ruiz visits her porch. He tells her the file is still open. She nods, thanks him, pours black coffee. Both know resources are thin. Other cases demand attention. But the Kellers remain like a thorn in the forest. Each fall, Grace walks to Pine Creek alone. She leaves flowers at the trail sign. She whispers, "Come home," to the empty air. The mountains do not reply. They stand, old and indifferent, but she feels watched, always watched. By year 13, she accepts a new role. She trains new hikers in safety seminars. She says little, but her presence is weight enough. Every mention of Aaron's name sharpens the room. Every mention of Noah pulls a silence across faces. The family that vanished is now a caution, a legend, and still, Grace waits. Every call that buzzes her phone could be the one. Every unknown number jolts her upright. The mystery has become her shadow. It walks with her. It sleeps in her chair. It grows heavier each passing year. Through it all, the Bitterroot forest remains untouched. The ridges cut the sky. The valleys cradle shadow. Whatever happened inside, the land is not speaking. Grace drives past Pine Creek one last time that winter. Snow stacks high on the shoulders of the road. She whispers into the steering wheel, "I'll never stop." Her voice trembles, but her eyes are hard. The forest does not answer. It only keeps its silence, the silence that swallowed two lives whole. June 21st, 2025. The sky over Montana is polished glass. Heat shimmers above the ridges of Granite Split. Dr. Serena Park, biologist from the University of Montana, sets her drone free. Its rotors hum like an insect. Rising into the bright air, she's tracking wolves, not mysteries. The drone glides over broken cliffs and narrow canyons. Camera 8K resolution, infrared, GPS, precise to inches. Data streams across her tablet in crisp lines. At 2:47 p.m, the screen flickers. She freezes the frame. Rectangles appear where only wilderness should be. Not rocks, not shadows. The edges are too exact, too deliberate. Something hides beneath layers of pine and dirt. She adjusts altitude, circles again. Infrared shows cold shapes, no heat signatures, but the geometry cannot be ignored. One frame locks on a tree limb, bent like a hook. A red object dangles from it, still, faded, unnatural. Serena's pulse kicks. It looks like a backpack. She marks the coordinates instantly. Then she dials a number she never expected to call again. "Captain Ruiz," she says. "I think I found something from the Keller case." Ruiz listens in silence. 17 years of dead ends have trained him to be cautious, but her voice shakes with certainty. 2 days later, a specialized team lifts in by helicopter. Ropes, harnesses, helmets. The canyon is too steep for any other way down. Wind whips the rope lines as they descend. Dust spirals off the cliff face. One rescuer shouts above the roar, "Contact." Rock ledge ahead. They land on a narrow shelf. The overhang above has shielded this place for years. No one searching from the sky could have seen it. Inside the shadow is not emptiness, but design. A camp arranged with patience and order. Stones ring a blackened fire pit. Branches are stripped, tied high with cord to form food caches. Sleeping hollows carved into dirt, lined with pine needles. Every corner speaks of survival, not chance. One rescuer unhooks the red pack from its branch. The fabric is cracked but intact. Inside, matches sealed in wax, a folding knife, a small photo pouch. Another finds a ranger's green jacket, folded with military neatness. A battered canteen scratched with the initials N. Kate, nothing about this is random. Then, under a cairn of stones, something else waits. Plastic sheeting wraps a leather-bound book. The spine is worn, but the ink inside survives. Captain Ruiz kneels, gloves on. He peels the cover back. The first page carries a date, September 6, 2008. Aaron Keller's handwriting fills the paper. Neat, steady, each line a record. Ruiz reads, the canyon pressing silence around him. Aaron writes of Noah's ankle injury, of smoke signals ignored, of helicopters flying past without pause, and then of the voices, two more. They call our names, not shouts, not echoes, precise syllables. Aaron doubts himself, but then Noah hears them too. Days pass. The voices return. They decide to follow. The trail leads deeper, beyond the known topography. Aaron describes structures in the canyon walls, hollowed chambers, carved symbols, cold ash in fire pits, bedding that feels too fresh. Then come the people, 7 of them, emerging from shadow-like stone turned human. They call themselves the Keepers. Their leader, Evelyn Stone, is older, sharp-eyed, soft-spoken. She tells Aaron they were brought here for a reason, that the mountain chose them. They give Noah ointment for his swollen ankle. They offer shelter, food, herbs, but they say leaving is not an option. Not yet. Aaron notes the contradictions. Their camp feels primitive, yet they understand too much. They speak of how to mislead search teams, reflective panels to bend light away from helicopters, false trails sown with fresh footprints, distilled pine resin to confuse tracking dogs. Aaron records each technique in detail. It is not magic, only knowledge twisted, but it explains why the Kellers were never found. As days stretch, Noah grows curious. He learns constellations from their vantage points. He learns to read wind as if it speaks. Aaron grows uneasy. He writes of indoctrination by patience. Every gift has a hook. On day 50, he admits something chilling. The keepers showed me how they bend the path. They make this place invisible. He does not explain fully, only hints, manipulating sound, redirecting sightlines. Ruiz's knuckles whiten as he reads. He remembers the grid flights, the dogs losing trail. Every failure now has an answer. Further pages reveal a deeper turn. Evelyn insists they protect sacred sites older than any map. She shows Aaron cave carvings, symbols beyond his knowledge. Noah becomes fascinated. He sketches patterns, asks questions. Aaron writes. He is adapting too well. Days slide into weeks. The journal grows heavier in tone. Aaron wonders if Grace thinks them dead already. Then, a chilling entry. The keepers speak of a ritual. They say it seals belonging. The ritual is vague at first. A tea brewed from mountain plants. Transformation, Evelyn calls it. Aaron's doubts sharpen, but his resolve falters. Isolation wears him thin. His son's enthusiasm pulls him along. The journal ends one page at a time. With more unease, Aaron's lines grow shaky, letters bending. He describes confusion, lost time, strange lights in caves. Then the words stop mid-thought. Ruiz closes the book. He exhales hard, the canyon pressing closer. Around the team, evidence is collected. Soil samples, charred wood, fibers from bedding. But the journal is the heart of it all. 17 years of silence now replaced with words no one wanted. Aaron and Noah had not vanished by accident. They had been intercepted, absorbed, held. The rescuers bag the artifacts carefully. The fire pit is photographed. Every item is tagged and logged. As the helicopter lifts them out, dust swallows the site again. From above, it looks like nothing at all. The canyon seals itself back into anonymity. Ruiz stares at the book on his lap. His hands shake as he reads one line again. They call our names at night, and they know who we are. Back at base, Serena Park reviews drone footage frame by frame. She zooms on more canyons, more shapes half hidden. Patterns emerge too many to dismiss. The Bitterroot range is larger than memory. If one hidden colony exists, others might too. The thought chills her more than the evidence itself. For Grace, the call comes late in the evening. The voice on the line says, "We found something." She does not ask what. She only asks where. Ruiz prepares for a meeting he dreads. He will hand her the journal, not answers. Every page bleeds with pain. The discovery is no closure. It is an opening into something darker. The Kellers were not alone in those woods. The mountain had hidden them well, and the ones who hid them may still be there, watching, waiting, listening for new names to call. The journal lies on Ruiz's desk. Its pages smell of pine smoke and damp stone. Every word presses heavier than the last. He reads again. The ritual is tomorrow. Then the jagged handwriting falters. By the final page, it breaks apart like a mind unspooling. Aaron writes of Noah taking the tea, convulsions, eyes wide, breath ripped away. A son lost in the arms of his father, far from home. The keepers told him it was sacrifice. They said the mountains demanded it. Aaron called it poison, nothing more. His last entry is an apology to Grace, a confession that he believed too much, a decision to drink the same cup and follow his son. Forensic teams confirm what the journal claimed. Traces of alkaloids in Noah's remains, even higher concentrations in Aaron's. The deaths are not explained by storm or beast. They are the result of ritual, deliberate and patient. 17 years erased by one hidden sect. Grace sits in her kitchen when Ruiz arrives. He places the journal on the table. His hand lingers on the cover, reluctant to let go. She does not cry as she opens it. Her eyes move silently, page after page. Only when she reaches the last line does her breath break. The house fills with the sound of pages turning. Outside, the wind claws the eaves. Inside, a woman folds in on her grief. Reporters swarm the sheriff's office. They demand details, names, explanations. Ruiz answers little. Evidence of a group, their whereabouts unknown. Speculation boils. Some call it a lost tribe. Others, a cult born of wilderness. Grace avoids the cameras. She visits Pine Creek one final time. She ties Noah's old scarf to the trailhead post and leaves without speaking. The site of the hidden camp is sealed, evidence bags stacked in climate control. But questions outnumber answers. Where are the keepers now? Did they dissolve back into the mountain? Or are they watching, waiting, selecting? Serena Park studies drone footage late into the night. More anomalies, surface rectangles, faint trails, geometric scars. The map of the Bitterroot grows crowded with suspicion. Each shape could be nothing, or each could be another pocket of silence. The range is wide enough to swallow secrets whole. Ruiz cannot shake the thought. He remembers the dogs circling, the helicopter's missing signals. He imagines invisible hands guiding searchers away. The tactics are too refined. Someone had training, knowledge of rescue operations. It feels less like legend, more like infiltration. In town, whispers spread fast. Hikers talk of hearing names called in the night. One man claims a voice said his child's name, though he camped alone. Fear stitches itself into local lore. Parents warn kids not to wander trails after dark. The mountains no longer feel indifferent. They feel alive. Grace clings to one line in Aaron's book, written deep, ink pressed hard enough to scar paper. Don't follow the voices. She copies it onto a card and pins it by her door. Every morning she reads it before leaving. It is the closest thing to closure she will have. The memorial foundation grows. Other families of the missing join. They raise funds, spread awareness, publish guides. Still, the Bitterroot swallows more hikers each year. Most are explained slips. Cold, exhaustion, but a handful vanish without trace. Each case reopens the wound. Grace wonders if keepers claim them too. She never says it aloud. Ruiz ages with the case unsolved. He drives the ridges, scanning valleys with binoculars. Sometimes he swears he sees light flicker and die. Serena urges wider surveillance. Drones fly monthly, mapping square miles of ridges. The images return more shadows, more doubt. The official report names the cause as ritualistic exposure to toxins. But unofficially, everyone knows. The mountains hosted more than rock and snow. Grace locks the journal in a wooden chest. She keeps the key around her neck. She cannot read it often, but she cannot destroy it. At night, she dreams of voices weaving through trees. Sometimes they are soft, almost kind. Sometimes they are cold enough to wake her. The town holds a memorial hike each September. Dozens walk the first miles of Pine Creek. They stop where the trail bends, lay flowers, and turn back. No one goes further after dark. The forest at night feels changed. Too many names might be waiting to be called. The final words of Aaron echo in Ruiz's head. I was a fool. Dylan paid the price. But Ruiz knows the blame is larger than one man. The keepers built a system. They twisted knowledge into invisibility. They turned wilderness into a cage. And somewhere out there, they may still be alive, waiting for the next family, waiting for the next voice to answer. The Bitterroot Range looks beautiful at dawn. Golden light climbs ridges, mist curls like ribbon. From a distance, you would never guess what lies beneath. But step close, and silence presses like a hand. Birds fall quiet, winds hesitate. It is the kind of silence that remembers. On the anniversary, Grace stands at the trailhead. She places her palm on the weathered post, whispers only one word, home. The forest does not reply. The sky does not shift, but behind the stillness, something feels awake. The story of Aaron and Noah ends with stone and ash, but the story of the keepers remains open. They are not gone, only hidden. If you ever walk the Bitterroot trails at night and a voice calls your name from the trees, remember Aaron's final warning. Don't follow the voices.